Manx Radio's Countryside is brought to you by NFU Mutual.
Hello and welcome to Countryside here on Manx Radio. I'm Simon Clark.
And I'm Kirree. Last week I went along to a delivery session given by Emma Sale, a travelling vet from Wales. And I also spoke to Peter Quayle, the auctioneer of Central Marts, about the forthcoming poultry sale.
And I speak to Rob Tier, a butcher from the north of the Isle of Man, to find out how busy it is and how it compares to other years in the butchery trade. All that to come on this week's programme, Kirree, but a little bit of time to chat about our own Christmases. It's a special sort of time on the farms because it's one of the few times, I suppose, in the olden days that people did actually stop for a few hours to sit down for a big meal.
That is absolutely right. This time of year, a lot of the stock are indoors now. Winter is in full swing, so the routines of feeding up each end of the day, and the hours of daylight are so few that you just get an odd job done in the afternoon. But 21st of December, the clocks change, the shortest day, and away we go, all roll down to spring, and we can't wait.
Yeah, and it's a tradition because obviously when I was younger, it was a big thing. Being the youngest of seven,
lovely.
It was a big thing, and it was so appreciative what because all your aunties and uncles would all be there on Boxing Day, what have you, and because there were quite a few of us for the Christmas dinner. Our parents preferred goose.
Oh, same with us.
Yeah, to most things. So they always had that, and all the trimmings, and it was a big fest. And it was one of the few times, I suppose, us as youngsters ever got off our backsides and helped to make it.
This is very true. This is it. You do pull together on Christmas Day. And like you say, having a couple of hours to yourself, watching daytime telly or whatever Christmas movies are on nowadays is really, really special, just to have that bit of downtime and family time. And time is so precious now. You never seem to have enough of it when you're older. And it's definitely for the little ones Christmas.
Yeah, and it brings back a lot of memories, of course, with me compatriot on Countryside for many years, John Kenyock. The late John, he just loved Christmas time. He had so many stories and about going to the houses to sing, and with all the little lights around the barns. It's a cracking one, and it's great to see Paul Costain and people like that continue it, isn't it?
Oh, that's right. Gordy Clegg there out at Glenmay as well, opening up the Christmas barns, the nativity scene. But the rundown to the Christmas mart, we'll hear from Peter Quayle just now, but getting the poultry all fattened up, ready, Manx grown locally, and then a bunch of boys together to pluck the poultry, get it all dressed nice for the sale. It was something that was very, very common at Christmas. Now, maybe not so much so, because you can get it in the supermarket.
People won't pay him by the hour, and it's, I think, if they looked years ago when my mother used to do the few that they did for friends and family at Christmas, it would never have paid, I don't think. But it is nice to see the tradition, and of course the lights. We always remember the Cameen family at Ballacrane at the dairy farm, who always had a mighty display of Christmas lights on the farm, didn't they?
It is really lovely, and it's a special time of year, and people do go above and beyond to decorate or get the trees up and make that festivities known. It's such a, like you say, a special time for everyone to come together. But like having a few hours off from farm, and I think that's what most are looking forward to now. Yeah.
Well, I must admit, a few Christmases I've had of other years off the island in the Czech Republic, and a lot different Christmas sort of celebrations than here. Have you ever spent a Christmas Day anywhere than on the island, Kirree?
Yeah, many years ago we were in New Zealand. We went down to visit the shearers that would come up to do the shearing season on the Isle of Man for my dad. We went down to stay with them over Christmas. It was the most bizarre feeling ever. It was sunshine, shorts and t-shirt, and we had cold salad, turkey salad it was. It was just very, very different. But the Christmas cards all still had the snow scenes, the Christmas trees, the Father Christmases in the snow. It just didn't register too well back as a youngster. And ever since then, I've never really wanted to spend Christmas away from the Isle of Man, if I'm honest.
No.
Just very different.
It is certainly very different. And, well, you mentioned Peter Quayle.
Indeed, Peter Quayle, a very busy man, very well known in the farming community for being the auctioneer at Central Marts. And he's getting ready there now for the Christmas poultry sale coming up on Thursday. And I caught up with him to see how the preparations have been going. Well, Peter, it's running down now to the shortest day. The 21st of December will be with us soon. It's been a foggy old weekend. How's the weather been generally for the farming?
It's been strange. We've had quite hot and very wet times and then very dry times. Not sure about climate change. I think if you look back over the records over all the years, there's variations in the weather, so we just get used to it and work accordingly. I think crops have been better. There's good amounts of barley and straw about. Stock look well. They're still quite green. A lot of fields round about. Maybe not ours, but our neighbours are very green.
Well, that's it, isn't it? Some of the cows got taken in early off the dairy farms, and they're looking really well, aren't they?
Yes, but they may need all that grass in the springtime with rising fertiliser prices and changes in farming. Who knows what's around the corner?
Well, this is it, isn't it? It's been a strange couple of years, but I suppose the autumn sales will be all done and dusted now. We'll be looking to the spring.
Yes, we've had good sheep sales and ram sales. Prices better than usual. And then the cattle, the suckler sales went well. We're getting a few less cattle coming through, but there are good buyers, and the mart worked well. It's nice to see a busy mart. We had some really good marts in October, November time.
And that's it. And I suppose that governs what goes through the meat plant and everything locally in the butcher shops, especially for this time of year.
Yes, we always hope that the meat plant is working well, and we have to sort of work alongside, and we need the meat plant to be providing good prices for the finished product and not the stagger not too long, to make sure that people are paid on time and they know where they are. No. So we work together.
Absolutely. And talking of this time of year, Peter, the Christmas mart is coming up this week.
It's always a nice, just a celebratory end of the year occasion. We've got about 25, 30 turkeys, all dressed and ready for the oven, and maybe 30 odd geese. So if anybody wants a good turkey, well Manx grown, either a turkey or a goose, the mart on the 23rd. 1 o'clock we start off with a bit of singing with, we have the Silver Band from Crosby.
Oh, lovely.
Jerry Wordsworth and his band of, they're good. It just helps get us in the mood, and a few carols, and then we start the auction at 1:30.
That's it. It's getting in that mood, isn't it? It's lovely in the mart there at Knockalo.
Some people remember the old mart at St John's, and that had quite a nice atmosphere as well. But we're getting used to the new mart now, and we've been there 10 years, is it, approximately? And it's just good parking, and it certainly works well for stock.
Oh, this is it, isn't it? It's getting them local produce to the local people, isn't it? Everybody loves to support local, especially at this time of year. But poultry is maybe one of the lesser known Manx-grown animals.
There aren't too many doing it, so they need the support, and it is nice when people support Manx. We also have Sheila Gorn and Manx products as well, and there will be one or two other stalls. And we also have Father Christmas, who's very kind with the children, so it's worth coming. It's a nice event.
That's it. It's a lovely afternoon out. But also, Peter, I know in years gone by that we've had the charity bird as well. A few bits of money have been raised for good charities.
Not just too sure over the years, but it probably runs into a few thousand. Kenny Sloan is the main person he gives a bird, and then it's split between Manx breast cancer and motor neuron. So he gives the bird, and then it's sold, and then some kind people give it back, and then it's maybe sold half a dozen times. So
wow, that's fantastic.
I think last year we gave 850 to each of the charities. So
yeah, that's a huge amount.
And we have a bucket collection as well, so everybody can contribute a little bit.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. It's that season of goodwill, isn't it? And so this is this coming Thursday, Peter, at Knockalo, 1 o'clock.
Yeah. Hope to see you there.
There we go. That was Peter Quayle, the auctioneer from Central Marts, who's in charge of this year's poultry sale on Thursday.
Yeah, and it's a strange one, the poultry, isn't it? Like we were talking about before. But Peter, always a great ambassador for all things local, and a nice persona and manner about him when he's auctioneering and stuff as well, isn't he?
Absolutely. He's a great man for the job. Very patient there. Some days it can be quite tricky getting the bids gathered in, but the Christmas mart is always very special, and they raise a good bit of money for charity, and many charities are close to the heart of some of these farmers that are in attendance. And it's great to see Manx grown birds there for sale, the geese and the poultry that's been raised locally. Just absolutely fantastic atmosphere, and he does a great job pulling it all together with the Christmas carols, with the silver band and the cracking mince pies they make.
It is, and it's great you mentioned the charities and stuff. What a wonderful job the Young Farmers Federation did with raising money with the tractor runs.
Oh, it was absolutely incredible. Like Hayley Crowe said a few weeks ago, that they raised £750 in the first year. Now, 5 years on, a whopping 14,000 made this year. It's just absolutely phenomenal, the generosity of the people around the Isle of Man, and just to absolutely brilliant charities they've gone to.
Yeah, well done everyone involved in that. The public, the constabulary, and of course the young farmers. Well, we mentioned about poultry before, and Peter talking about at the mart. I thought I'd get a first-hand impression of how things are compared to other years from butcher Rob Tier.
Well, firstly, Rob Tier, we're in here on a Sunday, which is certainly rare, but got to be done.
Well, this time of year, it's pretty busy. We've got still got a few thousand chipolatas to do yet, so.
Yeah. But I mean, that's a massive thing. I mean, the local ingredients going into the sausages here, and everyone loves them with the Christmas dinners.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, you can't beat freshly made and handmade chipolatas and bacon. You know, it's all cured here, and they're making it all by hand, so it's good stuff.
What about the trend then? I see on the list on the walls here, you've got the hampers there that seem to be popular with people, but you've got an range from turkeys, crowns, chickens, geese, ducks, some lamb, I suppose?
Oh yeah, lamb goes well. Quite a lot of people like a leg of lamb for Christmas Day. And to be honest, I mean, personally, for Christmas, I would have a goose. Really nice.
Yeah, my parents would always have a goose.
Yeah.
Blooming turkey's too dry.
But when you think of it, the amount of meat and the same kind of rich texture that you get in a leg of lamb is, it's a bargain really, and it's very good stuff. As you know, I mean, our lamb is second to none, so.
There's different types of lamb too, the spring lamb and stuff.
Yeah.
Is there much of a difference from the time of year?
Well, you know, spring lamb picks up, it attracts a premium price in the spring, sort of from late Feb, early March. But I don't think it's as nice as the lamb this time of year or in the autumn, because it hasn't been on the grass long enough. The lamb now is full of flavour.
Right, and you would taste the difference being a lamb lover.
Well, that's me personally, but then again, I like sort of knuckle shoulder lamb, and people go for leg or the blade, and so people have their different tastes. But me, I like lots of flavour.
But it must be difficult because away in different places around the world where people are having different turkeys, chickens year in, year out.
Yeah.
It's a different scenario on the Isle of Man, isn't it? And it doesn't seem very viable during the whole year.
Poultry, you know, it's a labour-intensive business, isn't it? You know, dressing poultry, and we can't source a regular supply of local chickens for during the year, so it's difficult. I don't know if there's an answer to that, but we certainly have plenty of decent, really good pork, beef, and lamb.
Have you seen much of a change over years, moving from one type of meat to the others?
My father used to say when he started out that lamb and ribs of beef were very popular. As you can see, that would be a Christmas up on the wall there.
It's a mighty picture.
Yeah, that's a Christmas show from, 1910, I think. So, you know, back then you'll see people went for beef in a big way. But the poultry was always something that the farmers' wives would do.
As a sort of sideline, I always thought.
Yeah, I think so. And of course, you know, that's gone really with the kind of commercial, big production poultry, which is a shame. I mean, you can't beat free range, but it's very hard to get hold of. But of course, you know, the beef, lamb, and pork is spot on. You know.
Yeah. What about pork? You don't really hear that mentioned too much at Christmas times, but I suppose there will be the lovers.
Yes, and particularly people from Eastern Europe, I found. They quite often will come in and get a shoulder of pork for Christmas. Yeah, I mean, it's good stuff. I mean, it doesn't have to be all about turkey.
No. The trend for, people still going for the traditional dinners? Yeah, you're not seeing a drop in that?
No. Most people, they want their turkey, and the trend is towards turkey crowns, because not so many people are cooking. I remember in the old days, £20 turkeys were quite common, and people would be feeding 2 or 3 families and having a big party. That's less common. People prefer just a portion of turkey crown these days, I think.
It's great that yourselves and a lot of the other butchers on the Isle of Man are really trying to keep as much local stuff in as they can. Not always as easy as that, but it is great that the people can come in and have a look and ask questions about it. That's the great thing.
Yeah, I would think the majority of the butchers around the island, during the year, are doing their best to support the local farming community where they can. So, I would encourage people not just to support us, but, all the local butchers around the island.
So important, Rob, to get the relationship with the farmers, because I suppose they've got to be on the game this time of year, because they know it's going to be busy like yourselves.
Well, yeah, and it's good to see. It's always nice to see the farmers coming in here to support us too, because of course they know the quality of what they're supplying, and with their geese and their lambs. We see them when we're driving around. We see them out in the fields, and we see the beautiful pastures they live in, and it's a fantastic ecosystem to be supporting. So it's kind of I don't know. It's a bigger picture than just trying to be busy, isn't it? It's about sustaining a nice environment and a good place to live. And
that sort of satisfaction for all of you, and the public should be driving past as well, seeing them in the fields and thinking, well,
yes,
how much fresher and freer can you get?
Exactly. And we're very fortunate to live in such a beautiful place, and part of the reason for that, for the beautiful landscape we've got, is the animal agriculture we've got, and we should be thankful for it, really.
Rob Tier, the butcher from the north of the Isle of Man, telling us about how they prepare and slaving away on a Sunday, getting all things ready, and it never gets any easier, I don't think, in that line of work.
I really don't think so too. It's a physical job, and they are a great team there up in Ramsey. Just fantastic. They took all of the Christmas beef that was at the Christmas Prime Stock Show held by the Southern District there. Absolutely credit to them for the quality that they have in that shop.
Yeah, and all the other butchers on the Isle of Man, of course, will be equally as busy. And it's great that, it's difficult to get certain birds and poultry. There's nobody really that can do or is involved in live sort of chickens on the Isle of Man. So it just makes it a little bit more frustrating, but making the best of it.
Absolutely. They have a great number of return customers year on year. And like you say, everybody wants that special dish on Christmas Day, whatever it may be. And the butchers do go above and beyond to provide what they can.
Yeah. Are you mentioned goose before. Is that what you'll be having this year?
Absolutely. Yes, we do love a goose. We always get one from Tears of Ramsey, but also we'll try and hopefully hunt one down at the Christmas Mart if we can. Nothing nicer than Manx grown produce. So that's what we look out for on Christmas Day.
You're listening to Countryside here on Manx Radio with Kirree Kermode and myself, Simon Clark. Well, we've mentioned animals in the past, poultry on today's programme as well. They've all got to be looked after, Kirree.
Absolutely. It's at the forefront of every farmer's mind here on the Isle of Man. And the farm assurance is what keeps us right in having the little red tractor appear on our products in the supermarket that gives the reassurance to the purchaser that it's come from a very high welfare standard farm. And to keep us up to date with all of the paperwork and accreditation, we had a delivery session from Emma Sale, who was born and raised on the Isle of Man and now works in North Wales. She popped back to the Isle of Man to give a talk on how the safe use of medicines happens. Emma Sale, welcome back to the Isle of Man. It feels like only 2 minutes ago we were in the Southern Young Farmers together, and now how you're a busy lady with your chosen career.
Yes, it's fantastic to be able to come back to the island, to my old stomping ground, to be able to see some familiar faces and hopefully deliver some useful training and give something back to the island's farming community.
Well, today was a very important day. You're here as a veterinary surgeon to talk about pretty important things changing in the red tractor in the farm assurance world.
Yes, so since the 1st of November, it's been a requirement that at least one person responsible for administering medicines on farm has attended one of these courses and understands why we're doing what we're doing. So it's kind of covering the basics of giving medicines safely, responsibly, causing minimal distress to the animal, and making sure you're happy with injection techniques. I'm more than well aware that most of the people sitting there today have been jabbing cattle since before I was born, but every day's a school day, and I think hopefully people have had something to take away from today and something that they're going to improve on for the future.
And that is certainly the case. Like you say, every day is a school day, but there's so much that you've taught today that maybe has advanced in the time that they've been farming, but the safe use of drugs on anything is so important now. Antibiotics is at the forefront of many people's minds.
Yeah, it is, and it's a buzzword across the farming press and in the general press. People are much more aware of how and where their food comes from, and that it's been produced in a responsible way. So today we've tried to cover how to give the drugs that we're giving on a regular basis on farm and how we can improve our farming efficiency. Is there somewhere we can reduce the antibiotic use through changing your health plan, implementing vaccination policy, and being able to keep happier, healthier animals, which at the end of the day are much more productive and efficient for the farmers.
And that's what it's all about, isn't it? They're running businesses, they're working day and night, and help from the likes of you who's gone away and studied for many years to come back, and just some tips and different ways to alter their business is so important.
Yeah, it's important. At the end of the day, farming is a business and you've got to make money at it. And I think farmers know in their heart of hearts keeping happy, healthy animals is the way to do this. But sometimes we get drawn into doing the same things year on year and possibly not tackling the issue head on. So hopefully, with the information that we've given today and the introduction to being able to implement health planning will change the practices for the future and hopefully offer them some words and tips and advice going forwards.
And like you say, prevention is always better than cure, isn't it? We've seen now with the pandemic that's happening around the world, the vaccination programs that are being rolled out, they're here for everyone's benefit.
Yes, I mean, vaccination is key in a lot of the preventative health issues. And I think previously there's been some resistance to it because the antibiotics and treatments that we have available are very effective. I mean, hopefully with today and some things that we've learned from some horror stories I was able to share of what I've seen over my veterinary career, have learned the lessons from somebody else's mistake that we can use and abuse antibiotics and cause more problems further down the line. These are a real and genuine risk, and the same with sort of worming products. So hopefully it's something they can go home and some food for thought.
Well, this is exactly it. And with Red Tractor, people look out now in the supermarkets, in just local shops, for the emblem with the tractor and the heart on it, to say that these farmers have produced this to the highest of standards. And this is something we've got to keep striving for.
It's all about consumer confidence. In this day and age, people want to know where their food has come from and the associated food miles. And having the Red Tractor emblem on things offers them that reassurance that everything has been done within the guidance of the Red Tractor system. And in order to do this, we need to maintain standards. And although this is a new requirement for people to do it, I think the feedback from today is that everybody's taken at least something home that will change their practices going forwards.
And how can people that maybe didn't get on this course, Emma, today, how can they get in touch with you or seek the advice that you've given today?
So a lot of the advice we've given today is, if in doubt, speak to your vet. I think it is key to have a good relationship with your vet as a farmer. You should be able to speak to them, to engage with them in further disease issues. This training is only really a starting point and a bit of food for thought going forwards, and it is just a case of opening up those conversations.
That was Emma Sale, the visiting vet from North Wales, to talk to us about the safe use of medicines.
Yes, and it's one of them things that it's like the vaccination thing at the moment, isn't it? Some are against it, some don't like animals that have had medicines in and things like that. But, if you're owning them, you want the best for them, don't you?
Absolutely. The welfare is absolutely paramount. And like Emma says there, prevention's always better than cure. And she's here to help. And lots of the good vets on the Isle of Man are too. But it's always nice to make sure that our customers are getting the highest welfare standard animals and the best food quality there is.
Yeah, and I think in general in the Isle of Man, I think, everyone's sort of gets together. They look out for each other's stock in general, don't they? If another farmer sees something, he'll sort of pop in and say, people with big land that not necessarily on their farm.
No, this is it. Yeah. And that's the great power of Facebook, social media, able to reach people, and everybody on the Isle of Man knowing somebody that can tell somebody else if there's an animal in distress or an animal needs tending to. And it's a great community in that regard. And some of the farmers here are just absolutely fantastic farmers indeed, and would stand up anywhere in the world. Their animal husbandry is just second to none.
Yeah, and just got to keep our fingers crossed. I suppose all the kids like a bit of snow for Christmas, but not ideal. And touch wood, we've been lucky, and we've had some unlucky years with big snowfalls in the past. But holding strong at the moment, because it's not a great thing if you've got sheep and out in this weather, particularly on the mountains, is it?
Absolutely not. And like we heard from the Met Office man, Neil Young, there last week about the snow, farmers do rely heavily on the forecasts, and to get those sheep to safety or get them to low ground before the weather comes in bad, it is the farmer's worst nightmare, snow. But like you say, it's always pretty on Christmas though.
Yes, it is pretty. Anyway, that's it for Countryside for 2021, Kirree. Let's thank our producers for the programmes. Sarah Hendy's been doing it, Howard Kane and William King as well. Christy DeHaven's been doing bits for us to help us out. So all greatly appreciated, and thank you as well. And I hope you and your family have a great Christmas. We'll be back in the new year, so all that's left to do is say, if you missed any of the programme or you want the interviews in full, or previous Countryside programmes, go to Manx Radio's website and you can download the podcast for free there, and go to the listen again and hear the programmes. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Indeed.